This program is intended for mature audiences only. Parental discretion is advised.
The following is a work of fiction. If you think it's real, get a life.
Good evening and welcome to the Hard Insider. I'm your host, Black Matter. Christmas time, goodwill, peace on earth, black pit of hell. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is just not the same. Tonight, HI takes a closer look at the dark truth behind this festive holiday season. Later on, Santa on the hot seat. But first, we travel to the cold wastelands of the northern Arctic, where the deep freeze is melting under the hot light of controversy. Let's take a visit to Santa's workshop. Usually, this journey would conjure up visions of gleeful elves and a jolly, smiling Santa Claus gently guiding the busy workers. But tonight, HI's Gerald Washburn shows us that Santa and his elves may not be getting on so well, and the North Pole may never be the same.
The North Pole, a harsh, unforgiving place. In these elements, an unprotected person would freeze to death in mere minutes. But underneath the ice cap at the very top of the world lies an old secret that, despite widespread skepticism, sustains the holiday dreams of children the world over. The workshop of Santa Claus. And around here, the times, they are a-changin'. In the old days, the entrance to this place was marked by a red and white striped barber pole and a jaunty wooden sign that proclaimed the North Pole and Santa's workshop. Back then, the right jolly old elf ruled his shop with a firm, kind hand. Today, these quaint landmarks have been replaced by a 20-foot-tall stainless steel tower, topped by a massive red beacon. Bronze plaques bolted to the tower's base read grimly, Toys by Claus, and www.sctoys.com. And after years of peacefully crafting toys for the good little girls and boys, the elves are speaking out, and Santa's firm hand is slowly losing its grip. We're here at the center of the Arctic conflict with someone who can help clarify the position of Santa's workers in what may possibly be the most devastating labor conflict ever. Here now is the leader of the Elven Resistance, Melvin Antarctica.
Thank you, Gerald. Thank you for coming here to hear the truth about our struggle to the people of the world.
Mr. Antarctica, you're,
Please, Gerald, call me Melvin.
Melvin, then. You're...
Because every one of us who are committed to the fight against the man in red have adopted the last name of Antarctica as a symbol of our solidarity.
Solidarity, yes. Mr. Melvin, your organization, the Elven Liberation Front, what exactly is it that you are demanding?
Gerald, the ELF has some very simple things that we need from the men. We are tired of being stuck underground like worms, Gerald. We are slaves, Gerald, and I say that without equivocation. We are slaves and we are tired of that bowl full of Gerald taking the credit and the glory for all of our sweat.
Slave is an awfully strong term, isn't it, Melvin Antarctica?
If the pointed slipper fits Gerald, then Mr. Red Pajamas is going to have to wear it.
Tell us how you've been mistreated, Melvin.
Tell me something, Gerald. What does a sunrise look like?
Well,
Because most of our brothers and sisters have never seen one.
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm telling you, Gerald, the only time that elves are allowed out of the ground is to load his infernal sleigh. It wasn't until that new pole went up in the late 70s that we even knew what he was doing with the toys.
Where did you think they went, Melvin?
Well, some of us thought that we were in a big toy-making contest, and others thought that, well, the toys were going to be sacrificed to the great ice god, and a few of us had been told that Santa needed a very high-fiber diet and liked his food to be very ornate. Now, imagine our surprise when we find out that they were going to a bunch of ungrateful kids, and that the fat man wasn't even passing along the profits. Do you know what we could have made on the Furbies alone this year if we had a profit-sharing plan? Oh, and don't even mention Tickle Me Elmo. It's enough to make an elf vomit.
And how exactly did you discover where your toys were going?
Gerald, it was a terrible accident that brought the light of truth to the founder of our movement. We didn't know it then, of course, but in the mid-70s, our whole operation was getting spanked by the major toy manufacturers. Good old St. Frick decided it was time to modernize. Well, the first thing to go was the old pole up on the surface. While they were installing that steel monstrosity you see now, a beam fell down and knocked out the power to the entire Tops and Yo-Yo's department. Our glorious founder, Shadrach Antarctica, was groping for his bench lamp when the power came back on. He took about 4,000 volts and was knocked unconscious for several days. When he came to, he said he could hear strange voices. Deep, like the Claus, but not the same. Eventually, the voices revealed to him the truth about the toys and the fate of our people.
Voices?
Yes, Gerald, voices. One does not question the truth, no matter what the source. The voices told Shadrach of the outside world.
You mean that you had absolutely no idea that there was an entire planet full of Judeo-Christian girls and boys clamoring for the toys you were producing?
We were totally ignorant, Gerald. Life down here isn't like life out there. We are raised from birth to make toys. Only toys. Other skills, other ideas are totally repressed. Santa forbid that any elf show any aptitude or interest in anything else, like dentistry or animal husbandry. Elves who do disappear for days, only to return after their re-education, totally devoted to carving wooden blocks. Our blessed founder had to preach in whispers until he had brought to light the truth to enough of us that we could stage a mass protest.
Joining us now via satellite is someone who should be able to give us a different perspective on the plight of the elves. Please welcome the leader of the Elvish Workers' Party, Lindsay Hoffa. Mr. Hoffa?
No relation. Hello, Gerald. Hello, Melvin.
Thank you for agreeing to speak with us today, Mr. Hoffa.
No relation. Thank you, Gerald, for helping us bring our cars to the outside world. Hello, Melvin.
I sense some strain between you. Melvin, could you provide some background for us?
I cannot believe you are speaking to this Uncle Rudolph. He doesn't know a thing. He and his weak-willed elves would have us bargain with the Claus when we can take what we want without having to beg like second-string reindeer.
Collective bargaining is the only way to create meaningful change, Melvin. We can work from within and make Santa see the error of his ways.
He is blind. He can't even see to tie his shoes, let alone understand how his policy of repression has...
Please, gentlemen, settle down. Melvin, you've had a chance to present your case. I think it's prudent that we get another perspective. Mr. Hoffa?
No relation.
Yes. Sir, what is your solution to the current labor problem at the North Pole?
Well, Gerald, violence as a solution just won't work in this case. The highest priority for all of us should be getting the toys made. Without the toys we build getting to the marketplace, Santa will eventually be replaced by a Pokemon, a product of a non-unionized foreign market, by the way, as the jolly Christmas visitor children look forward to every year. Any disruption of the assembly line must take place in a civil, controlled manner. Violence will only serve to...
Violence will serve plenty when I kick your flabby ass. You're starting to look an awful lot like the big red man yourself, Lindsay. You must weigh 75, 80 pounds by now. You know, I hear reindeer meat is awful high in fat. Is that where you're getting that gut from?
I still deny any knowledge of Rudolph's whereabouts, Melvin. The truth is his body has never been found, and you know it.
Please, if we could focus on the issue at hand. Mr. Hoffa?
No relation.
You say that, in fact, the single-mindedness of your elven workers is an asset to the North Pole's operation.
Oh, absolutely, Gerald. Santa's centuries of selective breeding have created workers that are second to none. They produce more per elf than humans twice their size. In addition, they almost never get sick, and they wouldn't have any desire to go anywhere, even if they did know what a vacation day was.
You see, Gerald? He wants to keep us on our knees, just like the Claus. Laid a finger upside your nose lately, Lindsay? Or maybe laid your lips upside Santa's butt?
Do you see the ignorance that has been fostered among the elves, Gerald? They have no idea the kind of potential that they're wasting. We ship more units in one night than any other manufacturer does an entire fiscal year. And we aren't even automated. If we could expand that into a 4 to 6 night operation, we could own the toy business. With the introduction of automation into certain repetitive operations and our fledgling marketing cast nearing maturity, all that remains is to develop a viable method of expansion. Our domination of the youth recreation market is inevitable. Once Santa understands that we mean business, there won't be any stopping us.
It certainly sounds like you've got the beginnings of a great marketing strategy. Once the details are worked out, you'll...
Cookies!
Excuse me?
The cookies! We can sell the cookies! The little humans just leave them sitting there. Tons of them. Hey, it's not like the fat man cannot forgo 2 or 3 million sugar cookies. If we package and resell them, we'll have all the startup capital we need. Claus and Company pastry outlets. We're gonna be rich.
Ma always said you had the brains, Melvin.
Well, gentlemen, it sounds like you've managed to iron out your differences. Promise me you'll keep in touch after you make your first million. For the Hard Insider, I'm Gerald Washburn.
A fascinating look at the seamy underside of the pseudo-religious toy manufacturer we all know and love. Joining us in the studio, the man responsible for our shocking disillusionment, Gerald Washburn. Gerald, on behalf of children everywhere whose parents aren't closely screening their radio listening, thanks for bursting our bubble.
You're very welcome, Block.
Gerald, can we expect big things from the Hoffa Antarctica team?
Well, Block, Lindsay Hoffa and his brother Melvin, who recently started using the Hoffa last name again, staged a massive work stoppage in the battery installation department up at the North Pole. After 45 minutes of Furby clones that wouldn't speak, Santa relented and agreed to contract negotiations. This week, North Pole Incorporated went public. The shares are trading on the New York Stock Exchange and have doubled in value 6 times since being released. Incidentally, you'll have my resignation on your desk by tomorrow.
Gerald, what was the most difficult part of this latest assignment?
Well, aside from suspending my disbelief, I think that having my legs amputated at the knees was definitely the most challenging aspect of this piece. But since Elvish custom forbids eye contact with anyone over 4'6", well, I did what I had to do to get the story. Incidentally, though, I did make a great showing as the star center on the RC car department's intramural basketball team. Remind me to show you my 360-degree reverse slam, Block.
I just may take you up on that, Gerald.
On a lighter note, we have a guest in the studio to explain one final loose end from our interview with the majority stockholder formerly known as Melvin Antarctica. Please welcome to the Hard Insider Studios our Elvin dental consultant, Dr. Herbie, DDS.
Thank you, Gerald. Block.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Herbie. We were actually interested in your insight into the prophecies of Shadrach Antarctica.
Well, Block, I have a theory about the voices that Shadrach Antarctica claimed told him the true purpose for the toys. You see, Block, Elven dentistry had been extremely primitive. Until recently. After a careful review of this case, it became obvious that Mr. Antarctica's molars were packed full of fillings, all of which had a very high ferrous metal content. My theory is that when the electrical discharge from the lamp passed through his body, those fillings tuned into distant radio emissions.
So, basically his head became a self-contained stereo system?
Exactly, Block. His head was most likely picking up a top 40 radio station running a full schedule of holiday advertising and music. This doubtless explains the voices, his revelation, and his eventual suicide.
I'm sure that the explosives wired into his jaw were a clue.
Yes, of course.
But do you have any way of testing this theory, Doctor?
As a matter of fact, we do. Let me just get this baby cranking. Block, if you'll hand me those jumper cables.
Here you are.
Let's see.
Hey, get away from me! You have my freak!
Safe? Is it safe?
It's
Oh,
Togetherness
wow.
Tuesday here on Heart
Oh,
to Heart.
no. Oh my
And I wanna hear from you.
God! Make it
Call
stop!
someone.
Fascinating,
No,
Doctor.
hard-
Well, I was first inspired to dabble in dentistry after seeing The Marathon Man.
I thought I recognized that technique. HI will return after these messages.
None of this is happening. Get real. I'm the disclaimer announcer, and you're off the beaten path.
Welcome back to the Hard Insider. I'm still your host, Block Matter. The labor troubles at the North Pole have finally cooled down, but Santa's still in the hot seat. For the details on what Santa does every other night of the year, here's HI's Walt Jones.
For centuries, they have been the perfect model of a happily married couple. Santa and Mrs. Claus, the faithful wife standing by her man, baking gingerbread men, helping to pack the sleigh, and then the tapes that shocked the world.
So, like, he was there, and I was there. And what did you say? And I said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking my cocktail dress? Why? What was that clip? Oh, nothing. Just reindeer on the roof, dear.
Within hours, the Drudge Report broke the shocking story. Santa Claus had been caught in a compromising position with an elf intern, and the world was introduced to its latest celebrity, little Cindy Lou Who.
Let me just say that what I did with Cindy Lou Who was inappropriate. Yet I did not lie about it. No, no, no. Now, isn't it time to get back on with the business of making...
Despite early denials, the truth won out in the end. And yet, Through it all, Mrs. Claus had stood beside her husband. Now, for the first time since the scandal broke, she breaks her silence and agrees to an interview. Mrs. Claus, thank you for speaking with me tonight.
Please, call me Hannah.
Very well. The last few months have not been easy on you, have they?
Well, mainly thanks to those of you in the media, it's been a living hell. But in our business, you learn to detach, to put it in its own little box.
But surely, you must have been disturbed by all of the intimate details.
Look, when you've been in the toy business as long as we have, you're going to make a lot of enemies. Do you have any idea how many threatening letters we get from kids who didn't get a pony? I've learned to take all of these charges with a grain of salt.
Yes, but when you read things like here on page 76 of the Independent Council's report, on April 9th, Santa took a candy cane
Look,
and...
when you have a lot of pissed-off little kids with access to their father's wallets, you're going to be able to fund operations like this. When you're faced with a vast pre-adolescent conspiracy, you don't stand a snowball's chance.
And all the hearings.
Do you affirm or deny that you deliver toys?
That depends how you define toys.
Well, how do you mean?
Now, if you mean juvenile playthings, pastimes, amusements, then it might be said that some people may say that yes, I deliver toys.
Do you affirm or deny that Cindy Lou Who was no more than 22?
That must have been difficult.
It was terrible. It's more than anyone should ever have to go through.
Hannah Claus, thank you very much.
We also have here in the studio the other major player in the ice water scandal, the man whom some have even gone so far as to say has stolen Christmas. Independent counsel, the Grinch.
I thank you, I most truly do.
There have been a lot of nasty stories going around. Now for the record, tell us your side of the story.
The jolly old elf in the jolly red suit got tired of making and delivering loot to ungrateful children all over the world. So next to this poor little lady he hurled, little Cindy Lou Who was an innocent victim, ensnared by Saint Nick and his illicit dictum. His interest in her was too far from pure, and his testimony was reindeer manure. I've weighed all the evidence, hoping to find that these charges were groundless as well as unkind. I've heard all the tapes, and the facts remain clear. St. Nicholas came a tad early this year.
Mr. Grinch, thank you for speaking with us. The spotlight has been turned toward the North Pole for months now. Will the elves launch a hostile takeover? Will Mrs. Claus file for divorce? Or will Congress step in and put the Easter Bunny in the sleigh next year? Only time will tell. But that doesn't stop us from mindlessly speculating. That's all the time we have for tonight. Next week, it's hard to get Valentines when you're homeless.
You have been listening to Scandal Claus, written by Jarvis Cruz, Brett Favre, Terry Garvey, Brian Irera, Michael Mills, K.O. Myers, and Pabson Jenis. The part of Walt Jones was played by Jarvis Cruz. The parts of Block Matter, Lindsay Hoffa, no relation, and Linda Tripp were played by Brett Favre. The parts of Hannah Claus and Cindy Lou Who were played by Terry Garvey. The part of Dr. Herbie DDS was played by Brian Irera. The parts of Melvin Antarctica, the Senator, and the Grinch were played by Michael Mills. The part of Gerald Washburn was played by K.O. Myers, and Santa Claus was played by Pabson Jenis. Produced by K.O. Myers and Pabson Jenis, copyright 1998 low-budget productions. This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons living or mythological is too darn bad. Scandal Claus is a special presentation of low-budget productions in association with WVLT. Stay tuned, there are more Christmas goodies coming up on Off the Beaten Path.